everyone. This is Vida from Metrics DAO, and I'm very excited to be bringing you this Sentio webinar today. So before we start, I'll give you a quick introduction about Metrics DAO, and then I will hand it over to Cesar, who will then walk us through Sentio and tell us a little bit about this amazing product. This webinar is going to be followed by two workshops. So um, you will get a lot of opportunities over the next weeks to learn about Sentio and to start using it. Right. So let's kick this off with a little introduction about Metrics DAO. So Metrics DAO is first and foremost a web-free um, professionals community who are actively completing analytics challenges and are actively learning about the Web3 analytics world. At the moment, we have about 5,000 community members actively completing analytics challenges, going through educational programs, and um, going to the different sessions that we're constantly hosting. So I'll stuff now about Metrics DAO. You can check our community's Discord if you're interested. There is where we have all the information, and also we do post all of our updates over on our Twitter. So, Cesar, I'm gonna hand over to you, and let's learn about Sentio.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. So hi everyone. My name is Chongzi, and I'm the co-founder of Sentio. And thank you so much for being here today. So Sentio is an observability platform for Web3, and so Sentio generates metrics, logs, traces from existing smart contract data through our low-code solution, which could be used to build dashboards, set up alerts, analyze user behaviors, create APIs and webhooks, and even more. And Sentio currently supports Ethereum, BSC, Arbitrum, Optimism, and a bunch of other EVM chains. And we also have pretty good support on the Move ecosystem. So we are actually one of the first data tools that support Aptos, and we are going to support Sui mainnet once the mainnet launch as well. And also we already have some industry leaders, our customers, such as Wormhole, Peace Network, Loopring, and a few others. So today I will sort of give a brief introduction of sort of the motivation of our why we're building the product, and also how we are different from some of the existing solutions in the market. And in the end, I'll give a brief demo, like a live demo of our product, and hopefully, if some of you guys are interested, I will follow up with a few workshops that will go into a more detailed example where I'll walk through a concrete example from beginning to the end. Yep. So just to start with, as I said, Sentio is an observability platform for Web3. Okay. And at Sentio, we really believe that we want to provide this all-in-one, easy-to-use observability experience, right? So that means that means we have everything fully integrated and fully hosted in one platform. So maybe before we start, I want to elaborate a little bit more. I'm sure this audience have already have a pretty good background on this, but I want to brush a little bit more into why do we need observability for Web3. So the first and probably the most important aspect is you really need to stay vigilant about the DApp in the Web3 world. Your DApp is likely handling a significant amount of user assets directly, and we have witnessed numerous attacks, exploits, and human errors that causes huge loss in user assets. While pre-deployment measures like integration tests or auditing can alleviate some of the known issues, many unknown issues can remain post-deployment. The open sourcing nature of the DApps also makes it very transparent to your users, but also make it very transparent to your potential attackers. And it really is a dark forest out there after you deploy your contracts. And also composability of DApps makes it not only important to monitor your own contract, but also all the contracts you're depending on or even potentially related to. If you're a lending protocol, for example, your smart contracts can be perfectly secured, but still suffer loss if someone initiated a Oracle attack on the Oracle you're relying on. Another example would be that if you have some kind of complex yield farming strategy and you are depending on a lot of underlying pools, um, then you have to have monitoring for all your underlying pools as well. Actually, one of our users suffered quite a lot during the Luna fall down for having invested in the UST3 CRV pool. And should he be alerted when the underlying pool's liquidity starts to dry up, much of the loss could have been avoided. The second aspect is to gain business insights, right? So, this is probably a value proposition you guys are most familiar with. But, these business insights can range from simple things like how many unique wallets are interacting with the D app every day, or what is the cumulative fees generated for the protocol, to more complicated questions like, for example, for all the wallets who purchased my token from Uniswap, what do they do with it? Do they stake the token, use them for governance vote, or become liquidity provider on the DEX? One of our customers actually used Sentio to build a detailed panorama of all wormhole bridged assets on Aptos chain. From the dashboard, they can see how much different assets are bridged by wormhole from other chains to Aptos, which wallets are holding these assets, how are these assets being used, which protocols are these assets being used upon, and that helps them to actually make important business decisions as to which projects they want to partner with, or which projects they want to promote more and incentivize users to use. Uh, the third aspect is to provide these insights as transparently as possible to the community, right? So dealing with on-chain data is already pretty hard, as you may know. If you're developers of the D app or professional analysts like you guys, and for the average user is almost impossible. And Sentio not only allows you to manage your existing logic as a GitHub repo, and also make it very easy to build dashboards, which I'll demo in more detail later. And we also provide easy to use API so you can present these insights however you want it. One of our customers, LiquidSwap, actually used Sentio as the backend to power their stats page, providing detailed information like the trading volume, APR, liquidity information of each pool to their community. Okay, now that we established, observability is very important for different aspects. Obviously, the next question is why Sentio, right? Don't we already have quite some products out and solutions out there that solves the problem? What's different and unique about Sentio? So I think on the data collection layer, right, we provide you with an SDK that allows you to collect the metrics and logs in a very easy and, more important, is type safe way. The collection logic can be written in TypeScript, so it's Turing complete, and it gives you great flexibility to collect exactly what you want, and will only be used specifically for a project. You can define really complicated logic at indexing time. For example, you can say at a certain block, I want to add all the amount of transferred events on that block and divide that transfer sum with the value of the total supply on that specific block, on that same specific block. And this is opposed to many existing offers where data is pre-collected in a very generic way. For example, some of the services collects all the raw events and transactions and put them in a big table, and then you have to write complex SQL query to build your dashboards. And more importantly, these big tables are shared by all the users, which can lead to performance issues or wait times if everybody is trying to access these tables. And because we push a lot of these computational complexity to the indexing time, on the query time, or when you're trying to build dashboards or alerts, it becomes quite easy. Actually, you can build dashboards and alerts on Sentio without writing a single line of SQL query or code. And what's more important is that these data are natively time series data. That means you can zoom in and out of any time span almost instantly, and any incremental update on the chain will be reflected in real time. That means, if say you create the dashboard, if a new block is produced which is relevant to your metrics, that will be updated instantly to your graph within few seconds. And also the things like block reorg will be automatically handled by our indexing engine in real time. And besides numeric data or what we call metrics, Sentio can also collect text data or logs and enable you to do advanced search. So as I'll show in a demo a little bit later, you can generate structured log based on chain activity and run a multifaceted search query later, such as, for example, for a deposit event, right? You can really say, okay, find me all the deposit event generated by wallet address X of token Y with the amount ranging from say 10K to 100K. And this is a big efficiency boost compared to today. You have to, sort of manually browse through each individual events on your block explorer. Not last but not least, I wanna sort of emphasize again, Sentio encapsulates everything above in a single integrated and fully hosted product. That means you don't have to sort of duct tape a bunch of products together to form your solution. For example, you sort of have to index your data, maybe using subgraph or other indexing tools, and then export that data into your database, and then build a dashboard with, say, Grafana, or dump everything into Elasticsearch for search. Instead, we really want to provide you with the entire workflow and your entire observability use cases on Sentio end to end. And you can easily even cross-reference different features, right? So for example, you can receive alert from us, and then you can within one click you can see the metrics that triggers the alert, and then another click to find all the related logs that is relevant to that metrics. And this can greatly reduce the team's response time, when the emergency occurs, or which is pretty crucial when it comes to recover some potential loss or stop a exploit. And we down the road we will also have a trace viewer and debugger that helps you to zoom into a specific transaction and sort of see line by line what is changed, what is being executed in that specific transaction. So in terms of chain support, we obviously to support as many ecosystems as possible is what great priority at Sentio. And Sentio already supports most of the major blockchains on the EVM side, as I said. As you can see, even we even have support for the base chain, which just came out last month, and also zk Sync Era is a new chain we support, and of course we support most of the major EVM chains you heard about, and also on the move side, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, we're one of the first platforms that supports Aptos, and we are launching our support for Sui pretty soon as well. So okay, yeah. I can just finish the last part of the presentation. So, we are already working with helping a lot of the DApps in the industry to secure and monitor and make business insights into their DApps. And in terms of backing, we're backed by pretty reputable VCs in the space: Lightspeed, Hashkey, Canonical, and Instance. And we recently actually announced our $6.4 million round. So we have a pretty good war chest to keep support our future product roadmap as well as our customers. Yeah. So let's. So far, any questions? Maybe I can start the demo and we can have a Q&A after all that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yep. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a pretty simple example on Sentio. So this is just a dashboard we built for CBETH, which is the I think is a Coinbase staked ETH, wrapped ETH, and essentially this is just the ERC20 token, so pretty easy example. And as I said, the Sentio journey sort of starts with the data indexing. So I don't know if you can, yeah. Can you see the different tab if I switch to uh, is
No, no.
is my GitHub that is showing? Okay, uh, okay, maybe here. So Sentio journey really starts from you to use our SDK and have the freedom to define exactly what you want, right, for a specific contract. So this is what we call a processor, and within this file you can. So first of all, as I said, it's type safe. So for example, a stake token V1 is actually the name of the ABI of the smart contract, and you can actually just download the ABI and put it in the command line, and we have a command called Sentio Jane to generate these TypeScript class for you, right? And from there, you can actually access the smart contract in a very type-safe way. So, for example, here you can say, okay, I'm interested in just sort of collect and visualize how the total supply of that ERC20 token changed over time, right? So here, as you can see, it's very easy. You can really just say, contract that total supply, and that actually gives you the value of that total supply view function. And you can just say, okay, I want to put that value into a matrix called total supply, and you can just say, total supply dot record that value. Of course, we have a helper function for you to sort of scale it down with the decimal, and you can put it in um, the total supply metrics. Another example would be, say you are interested in the mint and burn activity on the contract. And again here, we will auto generate these mint event and burn event from the ABI you provided, and then you can just say you can just say events dot args dot amount to get the mint amount of each individual mint event, and you can just say, okay, I want to record each individual mint. You can also say, okay, for the cumulative mint, I have a total counter that adds up every single mint event to date, right? Similar thing for the burn events. And also for the transfer event, you can say, okay, I'm interested in transfer event as well. Very similar thing. You can record each event. You can calculate its cumulative value. And what's more interesting in the demo is, as I said, you can also emit a log. So the log basically says you can give it a message which basically says, okay, I want to record wallet A transfers the amount of some token to wallet B, and then you can attach different tags to it. The distinct ID is really the where the transfer is to, is from, its amount. You can have all these tags that can be used in the search, which I'll show later. So once you have these sort of indexing logics set up, you can just upload this logic to Sentio. So as I said, Sentio is fully hosted, so you don't have to host any infrastructure. It's almost like a serverless experience. You can just upload this logic to our server, and once you do that, you will be able to see your processor here. We will start to sort of actually execute the logic and index the data from the blockchain. And then you can see a list of all the metrics you collected here as just shown in the processor code. For example, this is the total supply. You can see all the right tags applied to it. You can have a preview from here. This is a cumulative burn, cumulative mint, etc. You can have all the metrics you want collected here. And again, this is specific to your project. It's only used by you. And then once you have the metrics, you can go to our dashboards. and just starts to create visualization here. And as I said, once you have the metrics ready, like this part is completely no code. You can do everything from the UI. For example, just a very simple example, you can say, I can visualize the total supply, as I said, the just from, and you can change the time span very easily, right? It will just update in real time. And this is a total supply. You can also, uh, in the same graph, you can say, I want to visualize the cumulative mint, right? And you can visualize the cumulative burn. Uh, yeah, this is a blue line and the green line, for example. And what's more interesting is you can even add a formula to derive even more metrics. For example, here you can just say b minus c, and let's call it net, right? So that's your cumulative mint minus your cumulative burn, right? So that's essentially your net mint for the token, and that's the yellow line. And what's more interesting is if let's say you can just visualize and visualize any of the lines, obviously, but if you just visualize the net mint field and the total supply field, you will see that they match each other very closely, right? And that's actually expected. That means our calculation is correct, and also the contract is working as expected, because obviously if the net mint is not equal to the total supply, that means there's something wrong with the smart contract. Um, so then you can just give it a name and say create, and it will just pop out in your dashboard instantly. So obviously we have all kinds of different graph types and aggregations uh, and other visualization options and value options to make different graph, which I'll cover in more detail in our workshop sessions. And also you can, other than sort of the visualization aspect, we also have, for example, alerts. So, you can create a alerts based on the metrics I just showed you, right? So for example, here you can say, if the total amount of transfer is greater than 5,000 in a time window, then alert my team. So for example, you can define a logic like that. You can notify people via different channel. This can be Slack or Telegram or email, or even just generic webhook, right, to trigger some of the other options. So you can set up that logic. We will on Sentio, we will record every instances occurrence of that condition being met in the history. So you can go back to alerts and just examine, okay, when did it happen, how did it happen, why is it triggered, with all the correct labels attached to it, right? You can just go back and look at all the past instances with different time ranges. um, Another feature, as I mentioned earlier, is our log search. So remember, earlier in the process logic, we defined the transfer event, with all the right text, right? So from, to, the amount. So obviously from here you can just visualize every single transfer event. Event logs generated by the transfer event. Here, this is your message. You have all the right text, with the right block number and transaction hash. And what's more interesting is you can do pretty advanced search here. So, for example, I can say, okay, I only want to see all the transfer from the range 400 to 500, for example, right? And then you can just see it finds you all the transfer events within that range. Obviously you can also go to say, okay, I'm only interested in these two transfer emitted from this two wallet or to this two wallet, right? That really helps you quickly narrow down different different like that specific transfer that match your condition. For example, this says, this wallet you selected transferred less than 400 ETH to this wallet. And as I said, something on our roadmap, which is right now we allow you to just copy the transaction hash. In the future, we will have an integrated transaction explorer. From here, you can click on this here, for example, and then it will bring you to a more like almost like a debugger view in the IDE, where you can go line by line and examine a specific transaction, and see how the smart contract is called, how each variable is changed within almost as if it's in the runtime. So yeah, so I think that's actually my demo for the product. I think that's everything I have today. Again, I'll walk through a more detailed example in a workshop session, end to end, from how do you create the user SDK, upload the processor, have everything indexed, to how to create these beautiful dashboards, search and create alerts, etc. So as a demo of the product, I think that's it. So I think I can open for questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the demo. And I also will share right now the link for the workshop. So we have mentioned that this demo is going to be followed by 2 workshops. So if you want to participate in the workshops, then just sign up using the link that I just posted. And now it's the time for questions. So if you would like to learn anything about the product, um, or if you have some Web3 analytics questions, this is the time to ask. So would love to hear any questions in the chat. And now I can see a couple questions have already been posted. And one of the questions is, who is your target audience?
Yeah, right now we mainly, like, our paying customers mainly just DApp teams, right? So obviously at the starting point, the teams themselves are interested in knowing more and monitoring their DApps the most. But we actually also have some more like tech savvy users, like you guys are actually either building for these teams, or if they themselves are just interested in some project, they can build a dashboard um, with Sentio as well, or even set up alerts. Some of the traders, for example, as I said, if they have large staking in some pool, for example, curve pool, they want to monitor the liquidity, right, and maybe even monitor the withdrawal event, and just say, if there's a large withdrawal, just notify me. So there are different use cases, and some of the investment institute also use us to sort of study their portfolio, or even study projects they're interested in, right? So there are a pretty broad use cases. Basically, anyone who's interested in a DApp in a analytical or monitoring perspective can use Sentio.
Amazing. Thank you for the answer. Um, Also, someone was asking about Solana, and will there be an integration with Solana at any point?
Yeah, we actually have a what we call a beta integration with Solana at the moment, meaning we don't public promote it too much, but if this is something our customer need, we can open it up. The main reason for that is we're still in sort of like a mode where we want to see how that ecosystem is headed to. So we sort of put that active development on a cruise mode, but we do have some like limited support for Solana at the moment. So if you want to try it out, I can create that for you.
Okay, that's awesome to hear. Um, Great. And also, Amir is asking, is the minimum time frame for displaying data in minutes?
Uh, no, you can actually zoom into pretty details, like pretty detailed time span. But I think the ultimate limitation is not the display time, but rather the the data resolution itself. So I think, for example, because ultimately blockchain has a time, sort of a time resolution for itself, right? So, for example, the mainnet produce block every, I think, 10 to 13 seconds. So that means, even if you say, okay, I want to create sort of sample a data every block, that means your resolution will only go as small as 10 seconds. So, for example, yeah. So on our front end, you can go to I think like second is the minimum resolution at the moment.
Okay, awesome. So we still have some time for questions. So if anyone has any questions, do drop them here in the chat. Um, and also wondering, so if right now a question popped up to someone a bit later, or if they wanted to connect with your community, what would be the best way to connect?
Yeah, you can actually find both our Telegram group and our Discord server on our website, which is Sentio.xyz actually. Um, so yeah, you can join our Discord and Telegram there, or I'm actually in the metric style server. So if you want to sort of DM me on metric style from metric style, that will work as well.
Okay, awesome. So do drop any questions if you still have any, and otherwise we will be finishing off for today. So thank you everyone for attending the session. But I before we finish, I do see that we do have another question that has just popped out.
Mhm.
So are you a direct competitor of Flipside and Dune?
uh, I I wouldn't it we definitely have some overlap use cases, especially on the dashboard side, as I just shown. But again, as I said, our paradigm, like our design paradigm, is kind of different. Whereas we actually allow you to push a lot of the computational complexity to the indexing time, right? Whereas I think, which is good if you want to build a very uh, sort of more advanced monitoring and in real time, and also you want this data space to be specifically for you. And whereas I think usually Dune's logic is to have this generic table pre populated, but then you use it, you write any SQL query on the go. And I think that's a better model if you want to sort of create a dashboard very quickly. You have not many sort of customized need. So I think the paradigm is a little different on the dashboarding front, but we also have like monitoring and log search as I just demoed. So that's again more tailored to the day to day, more mission critical operation for these DApp teams. So as a solution, I don't think we overlap with doing that much.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for the question. Um, Great. So if there's no more questions, then we can finish for the day. Do sign up using the link provided. If to the workshops that we will be hosting over the next few weeks to uh, get an even deeper look into how you can start using Sentio yourself. Thank you everyone for attending the session today. I hope you enjoyed it, and the recording will be available on YouTube in the case you would like to look over it in the future. Thank you, everyone, again, and we'll see you in the future demos and workshops.
All right, thank you, everyone.